What if I told you I had a way for you to combat the stress in your life? Not a way to deal with it, but a way to greatly reduce it and in some cases completely eliminate it. Well, I do, and it's coming up next. I'm Gene Clark, this is Self-Development Quest, and today's secret weapon is the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff by Dr. Richard Carlson. If you've joined me on this quest before, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up so I know that you're here, and without further delay, let's jump right into the book. The inspiration for this book came from a conversation that Dr. Carlson had with Dr. Wayne Dyer. See, a previous book that Dr. Carlson had written, Dr. Wayne Dyer had endorsed him for it, and he had a subsequent follow-up to that book, and the publishers wanted Dr. Dyer to give yet another endorsement. Now, try as he might, Dr. Carlson was unable to get in touch with Dr. Dyer, and after informing his publisher of his attempts and failures, he thought the issue had been put to bed. However, once this new book came out, the publishers had actually published the previous quote that they had been given permission for without Dr. Dyer's permission to use it on this new book. As you can imagine, panic set in, and Dr. Carlson immediately began getting his team involved to get these books pulled off the shelves, and he personally reached out to Dr. Dyer, explaining the situation to him, but again, went weeks without hearing anything back. And then one day, Dr. Dyer sent Dr. Carlson an email. Very simply, it stated, "Richard, there are two rules for living in harmony. Number one, don't sweat the small stuff. Number two, it's all small stuff. Let the quote stand. Love, Wayne." This response not only tells us to go with the flow and respond to life gracefully, but is the inspiration for today's book. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff is full of 100 different chapters, 100 different ways and ideas on how to not sweat the small stuff. My personal copy of the book, as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than your standard book size. This one is about 250 pages, so that means each chapter is only about 2 to 3 pages. Now, what does that mean for you? That means you can sit down and start cranking out this book, or you can even take it day by day, chapter by chapter. Each chapter is full of its own wisdom, and it's got tips and tricks on why you shouldn't sweat the small stuff and ways you can avoid it for that particular subject. Now, with over 100 chapters, we don't have time to cover all of those, and heck, we don't even have time to cover all of my favorite ones, but I did want to give you a list of them just so you know what my favorite portions of this book were. Make peace with imperfection. Remind yourself that when you die, your inbox won't be empty. Learn to live in the present moment. Become more patient. Surrender to the fact that life isn't fair. Repeat to yourself, life isn't an emergency. Become a better listener. Every day, tell at least one person how much you like, admire, or appreciate them. Breathe before you speak. Become a less aggressive driver. Be willing to learn from friends and family. Get comfortable not knowing. Fill your life with love. Keep asking yourself what's really important, and live this day as if it were your last. Now, that's only 15 of 100 chapters. There are so many great ones in this book, and there's so many great ones that I felt a connection to that I didn't even have time to mention, just because, again, there's so many takeaways that I took away from this book, and I know everybody can take something away to, again, not just reduce stress or cope with it, but find ways to completely eliminate it from your life. For now, though, I want to tell you about my big 3 from this book, and that leads me to today's RORs. As you know, I believe every book we read is an investment in our own self-development, and I like to call that investment our return on reading, or ROR for short. And for anybody watching this video that's not a subscriber to the channel, if you've gotten value out of this video so far, or you get value out of the upcoming RORs, go ahead and click that subscribe button, ring the bell, and come back for more future content like this. And without further ado, today's RORs. ROR number 1 comes from Chapter 6. When you leave this world, your inbox won't be empty. Do you find yourself working late at the office on that project just so you can get one more task accomplished on it? Do you find yourself staying up late to answer emails that could probably wait till the next day, but you're hoping to get ahead on those? Do you find yourself, when you do these things, sacrificing time with those that you love, those that are most important to you? We are putting our inboxes before our relationships. What happens if you die tonight? Your inbox is still going to be full, and everyone else that's left behind will manage to get it all figured out for you. But what about the relationships we're leaving behind? Life is precious, and though the time we have with our loved ones is limited, don't waste another moment. One of these precious moments, responding to another email, making one last phone call, trying to get something else accomplished, if it means taking time away from the precious relationships with those we love. There will always be time for another phone call. There will always be another email coming in, but there won't always be time to spend with those we care most about. So stop worrying about your inbox and stop trying to get it down to zero every single day. ROR number 2 comes from chapter 22. Life isn't an emergency. Everything nowadays has to be so instantaneous. It has to be so bam, bam, bam. But do you remember dial-up internet? Do you remember sitting around for 5 minutes just trying to connect to the internet? And that was quick if you could connect in 5 minutes. Do you remember trying to browse the internet? You'd go to a website and just clicking on another page on that website would take a couple of minutes for that next page to load. You click it, you go to the kitchen, grab a snack, come back, it's still not fully loaded. Now, we click on the internet, we click on a website, if it's not up in 2 seconds, man, we're angry. We have to slow down. We have to take a deep breath, take a step back. We have to stop and smell the roses. If we don't take time to relax, not just when we're trying to take a vacation once a year, every other year, or when, hey, it's Friday night, I'm gonna kick back and relax. No, we need to take time every single day to just sit and do nothing, just sit and relax. And I'll tell you, there's some crazy benefits to doing that. What kind of benefits, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Reduce stress, lower blood pressure, lower stress levels, relieving muscle tension. Wow, who knew that taking time just to relax could have all these benefits? So remember, slow down, take a step back, and remember, life is not an emergency. And last but certainly not least, ROR number 3, life is precious. Now, this topic was somewhat covered in the last chapter, but really a culmination of the entire book. But for me, it really hit home when I was doing research for this video, and I learned that Dr. Richard Carlson passed away from a massive heart attack at the age of 45, only 10 years after writing this book. Now, for me, that personally drove it home. That personally touched me because I'm about that same age, and he talked about his 2 kids, and I've got a couple of kids of my own. And so thinking about myself and the possibility that I'm not going to be here for them in 10 years, well, that really hit home. And I said, why am I worrying about all these little things when their life is so much bigger? And just spending time with those that we love is so much more important than, again, staying at work late and answering a couple more emails, trying to make a couple more phone calls, trying to accomplish something that really doesn't matter if it means sacrificing time with those we love. We only have one shot at this thing called life. We have one shot to make an impression on the ones around us that mean the most to us, and we don't want to waste a moment of that opportunity. So while we're still here, let's remember that life is precious. Let's take time to be with the ones that we love. Let's take time to relax, and let's remember not to sweat the small stuff. I can say without a doubt that I would recommend this book to everybody. I personally felt much more relaxed after reading it, and I know you will too. So feel free, click the link down in the description if you want to buy this book for yourself. And in the meantime, I've got a question for everyone out there. What's a little thing in your life that you've been sweating a little too much lately? Look for my answer in the comment section down below. And don't forget, on this self-development journey, always keep growing.